Hi, I'm Michael Kull. Welcome to Living Lean. Living Lean is a program about living well and feeling great, getting the most out of your life through healthy eating and exercise. We'll show you how to cook healthy so you can lose weight, put on muscle and feel terrific. We'll also have a guest dietitian on the show, Nerida Clark. We'll have a guest gourmet chef creating beautiful healthy meals, and we'll have success stories. We'll have healthy food that's going to help you live well and feel great. Living Lean is going to change your life. Breakfast, they say it's the most important meal of the day, and they're right. You should eat like a king for breakfast, like a prince for lunch, and like a pauper for dinner. Because you fasted for 8 hours, and now it's time to get some energy into you. Today, I'm gonna prepare a beautiful Bircher-style muesli without the cream. First of all, I've got a green apple. So I'm using a V-slicer. And the thing you want to remember when using a V-slicer, be very careful. But the good thing about a V-slicer is it breaks your apple into beautiful pieces. So there you have it, just like that. So you can put a little bit of green apple in there like so. Then oats, high in complex carbohydrate, a great energy source. I'm using about 100 to 150 grams. So put my oats in there. Next, I'm gonna put in currants. Again, vitamin C, very good for the body. So about 30 to 40 grams of currants. Almond flakes, and remember, fat is one of the 7 essential nutrients for life, so a little bit of fat is what we need in our diet. Now, a little bit of almond flakes, just a touch of water, then some orange juice. Vitamin C again, great for those people who are lactose intolerant. Mix it all together. And here's one that's been in the fridge overnight, a family-size serving. As you can see, the currants have swelled up. The oats and the orange juice have combined to create a creamy, beautiful flavour. Now you can serve this with yogurt and strawberries, and you've got a healthy breakfast that's moderately low in fat and also has a dynamic flavour that'll make you jump out of your skin and feel fantastic. When losing weight, it's all the little treats that can throw us off our healthy eating plan. Today, we're going to show you how to make a healthy pizza with De Massimo at Bentley, so you can do it at home. Massimo, tell me a little bit about your philosophy on pizza.
Philosophy of my pizzas are the simplicity. The simplicity of my pizza is a good produce, good flour, minimum ingredient.
Less is more?
Less is better.
So what kind of pizza are we going to make today, Massimo?
Today we're going to make a pizza with prosciutto, mascarpone and rocket leaves.
Yep.
This is the dough. That's the dough we're using. It's a doppio zero flour, which is double O. This is the base. It's 120 grams of flour.
Yep.
And what are we doing? We're stretching it out as everyone can do it at home.
Yeah.
And then we're going to put it on top of the tray.
Yep.
Which I got here. This is actually the pizza base.
So how much yeast have you got in that base?
In this base, it's a 1 litre base of 1.7 kilos of flour. It's 5 grams of yeast per litre.
Is that all? That's amazing.
All. That's all.
It's very light. The base is light.
It's a very light base. It doesn't puff up this much. Now I'm gonna put you some tomatoes on top of this pizza, which is tomato. There's San Marzano tomato. It's 1 spoon. It's about 50 grams of tomato.
And well, how come this tomato is different?
This tomato is a good tomato. It's a sweet tomato. It's called the San Marzano. Come from Somma Vesuviano.
Yeah.
From Naples.
Okay, so the tomatoes came from where you come from.
That's right. And the mascarpone is Italian-style mascarpone,
yeah,
which we're going to use on this pizza, and it's 1 spoon, which is about 50 grams of mascarpone.
Geez, that's not much.
We're going to lift this. It's not much at all.
So
this is actually the pizza. It's pretty much how it is. Now we're just going to cook it. As this pizza cooks and comes out of the oven, we're just going to top it up and dress it with prosciutto, rocket leaves, Parmesan cheese, and a little bit of olive oil.
Yeah.
And anybody can do it. It's a very simple pizza, clean and healthy. Less ingredients, you create the flavors, and you can test the flavors. You can test anything you're putting on the pizza, such as the prosciutto, the mascarpone, and the rocket,
yeah,
and the Parmesan. And here we are, ready to serve.
And there you have it. This pizza, you can tell, is healthy because it's thin base, minimal ingredients, but beautiful flavour. I can't wait to taste it. Now onto lunch, a chicken wrap, and I'm wrapped about it because it's low in fat, high in flavour and very healthy. All right, first of all, I've got a chicken breast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pat my chicken breast with a bit of paper towel. This is important to take the moisture out of your chicken. Then I'll get my knife and I'll cut it lengthways and crossways into cubes. Always use a nice sharp knife. It really makes a difference to the end product. And then I'm going to marinate it, but I'm not going to leave it overnight because I haven't got all that time. I've got a little bit of soy sauce here. And then I'm going to use a little bit of honey, like so. The good thing about this is you don't need all the time. If you want to and you have time, you can make this marinate and leave it in the fridge overnight. So soy and honey, and just mix it in like so. And this is very healthy. I've used only a little bit of sugar and a little bit of salt. That's in the soy and the honey. But there's no fat because I've used a very lean piece of meat, which is chicken breast, and it's full of protein, great for the muscles and also for cellular and growth and repair of the body. So there we go. Now, I'm not going to use a huge quantity, just about, say, 100 grams in there, like so, and mix it in with your fingers. Don't be afraid to use your fingers, or if you want, just use a spoon like that. So I can let that sit for about 5 minutes or so, and that'll all marry together into a beautiful flavour. And with the rest of the chicken breast, that can be for later on for a stir fry. Now make sure you get a clean chopping board. So here we go, I've got my clean chopping board, and I'm going to start cutting some of the lettuce. Now cut it very finely. You always use a sharp knife, and I find if you cut it into fine strips, the whole flavour of the meal is a lot better. So the wrap will taste a lot, and always use a nice fresh lettuce. Now you can use rocket in this dish. Rocket seems to be the flavour of the month at the moment. It's got a really nice peppery flavour, but I just like lettuce because it's really fresh and just seems to go really well in this. So just chop that up. Next, I've got some tomatoes. I've got some beautiful, fresh, hydroponic tomatoes. They've got a lovely flavour, or you can use homegrown tomatoes. Tomatoes have a lot of vitamins, lipocene, which is a very good vitamin for the body. Then I'm going to use cucumber. Now, when I use cucumber, I like to leave the greenery on because that adds extra fibre, and when you have extra fibre, it means it keeps you fuller longer. So I'm chopping up my cucumber like so and lengthways. Now always use a sharp knife. You'll really notice a difference with the end product. Now I bring my chicken over. I'm going to spray my non-stick pan with a bit of spray, like so. And then make sure it's nice and hot, not too hot, otherwise you'll smoke the house out. And then just give it a bit of a stir. And here's my chicken breast. I'm going to take it off now, and it's cooked to perfection. Then I've got my 2 sheets of wrap. I'll put my little bit of chicken in there, which has been marinated in honey and soy, and I've only used about 100 grams. Then a little bit of lettuce. I've used iceberg lettuce, which is a really fresh lettuce, and I've used continental cucumber. And also a little bit of the good tomato, hydroponic tomato in there. And to add a little bit of flavour, I'm going to use a bit of Danish feta. Danish feta has got an absolutely beautiful flavour. Now, just like that, and over, and then there you have it. Chicken wrap that's really healthy. Here we are at the gym, and we're talking to James White, a guy who lost 60 kilos in a year and dramatically changed his life through healthy eating and exercise. G'day James, how you going?
Quite well, thanks Michael.
James, what was the trigger point that made you decide, that's it, I've had enough, I want to lose weight?
Well look, it was more of a gradual thing. You know, I'd been overweight for most of my life, and it got to the point where I couldn't finish a lap around the school oval at training, and that just really frustrated me, and it was really just unhappy with my general health.
And emotionally, how did you feel during the period you were overweight?
Look, I was quite self-conscious, obviously. You know, at 16, body image was, you know, quite a big thing, and you know, I really started to get concerned about that as well.
What weight were you at 16, and how much weight did you lose?
I was 135 kilos at the time, so now I would have lost about 60 kilos.
What was one of the hardest things you had to go through?
Really, I think it would be having to go buy new clothes. You know, I'd always have to look in the extra large section, or I've even been told to go to a tailor.
Really?
Because, yeah, they don't have sizes big enough for me, and that's when it really sort of hit home.
What kind of exercises did you take up?
Well, look, it was a very gradual thing. You know, obviously I was overweight and not able to do that many things. And, you know, I started off slow, so walking on the treadmill for, you know, 10 minutes, on the bike for 10 minutes, you know, with a higher heart rate. Cross-trainer's a great machine, you know, it's low impact on the joints. It's like, you know, cross-country skiing.
What about food? Did that play an important part in your weight loss?
Definitely, definitely. You know, a smart, healthy diet is a very important part of losing weight.
All right, tell us, what was your daily eating plan?
So I'd probably have, you know, cereal for breakfast with a bit of fruit to, you know, make it a bit more interesting. And, you know, like a wholemeal roll for lunch. And with dinner, you know, you don't have to restrict yourself too much. You don't have to go to the extreme. You can still have, you know, pizza and burger every so often. You just got to be smart about where you get it from, or if you make it yourself, which is really good, what kind of ingredients you use.
So you use a bit of imagination in your cooking.
Exactly.
And that sort of thing.
Got to keep it interesting.
Excellent. How do you feel now you've lost the weight? And how long have you managed to keep it off?
Look, I feel much more, you know, confident in myself and happy with my own, you know, physical fitness. And look, you know, it's been 3 years since I lost the weight, and you know, once I got to that point, I didn't want to ever go back. So I had to maintain my healthy lifestyle. Have you got any advice for people out there who want to lose weight? Sure, Michael. You know, it's not going to happen overnight. You know, but if you do follow a, you know, a healthy eating plan, smart eating plan, that Also combined with, an achievable exercise plan, there's no reason why the kilos won't be falling off before you know it.
Thanks, James.
My pleasure, Michael.
James was truly inspirational and living proof that together we can win the war against weight loss. When losing weight, it's important to have a low-calorie, high-flavour dinner, and that's exactly what I've got on the menu for you today. A beautiful pie that's full of flavour and full of protein. All right, now I'm going to use a little bit of eye fillet. Whenever you're using meat, always get a little bit of tissue, pat it down, get all the moisture out of it. That's important because then when you go to cook it, you won't broil the meat because there's no dampness in there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it lengthways and crossways into little cubes like so. So it's cubed and the flavour retains in the meat. Then I'm using onion. Now I'm using brown onions, 2 to be exact. Cut them in half and then just cut them in little cylinders. Try to cut them fine. I've got 2 nice onions. Now this has got peas in it. Peas have got a lot of vitamins in there and also a little bit of fibre. Now we're going to put the flavour into the dish. We're going to make our sauce. A little bit of corn flour, so add a little bit of water to start with to mix up my corn flour like so. So it's not gluggy, it's nice and smooth when it goes into my total mixture like so. Next, I'm going to get some real stock, about a cup of real stock, pour it in. Then some organic soy, about 2 tablespoons. Then a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Then I get my spoon and then mix it up, and that's ready to go in as a flavour and a thickener a little bit later on. And here's my pie mixture. What I've done is I've sautéed my onions, sautéed my fillet steak, and also put in my peas. Then I've put in my gravy and mixed it all together. So what you do now is you get your light filet pastry, 1 sheet, spray it. 2nd sheet, spray it. 3 sheets, spray it. That's your base. Then your pie filling goes in. Then 3 sheets and the same procedure as before, and then in the oven for 45 to an hour on 170 degrees, and there you've got the world's healthiest pie. And joining us today on Living Lean is our resident dietitian, Nerida Clark. How are you, Nerida?
Good, Michael.
Oh, that's good. Now, Nerida's going to do the judging of the meals. Tell us a little bit about breakfast.
Well, the Bircher muesli you've got here is a fantastic breakfast for every day.
Yep.
It's low in fat, it's low in salt, and it's really high in fibre. And fibre is so important when we're trying to lose weight because it helps to keep us full for longer.
What sort of serving size should we have?
Look, I think the serving size you've got here is really ideal for every day. So a small bowl or something like in front of you.
Great. All right, lunch. What about lunch?
Look, Michael, I think this lunch that you have here is ideal. A chicken wrap, it's high in protein, it's low in fat, and it's really low in energy. And we really, when we're looking at losing weight, we don't want to be eating too much energy. We need to be aware of reducing our energy intake, and a small serving like this is ideal.
What does protein do for the body?
Protein is excellent. We need it whether we're exercising or not. What it really does is helps to refuel and maintain muscle mass. And that's a great thing for keeping our metabolisms up, which is excellent, as you know, for weight loss.
Can't complain about that. And dinner, the last meal.
Again, this pie, the best thing it's got going for it is it's high in protein. We've talked about the importance of protein.
Yes.
Look, I think this is an ideal meal. I probably wouldn't have this every day simply because it's a little bit higher in salt and a little bit low in fibre. But compared to an everyday pie, perfect.
Now, which one would you say is the gold medal winner out of all three meals?
Well, I think, Michael, it's really hard to compare because we're looking at a breakfast, a lunch and a dinner. But if I had to pick one, you can't go past the Bircher muesli. It ticks all the boxes. It's high in fibre, low in fat, low in salt, and the portion size is just right. I would give that a 10 out of 10.
Thanks, Nerida. There you have it. The Bircher muesli is the winner. Not only does it taste great, but if you give it a try, I'm sure it'll help you lose weight and feel great. Thank you for joining us on Living Lean. I hope you've enjoyed the program. We'll bring you recipes to help you lose weight and achieve great health. We'll also bring you inspirational people to motivate you so you can live well and feel great. See you next time.